Cheers, Aiden Buckaroos, and how the heck are you? You know, there's a reason why I do these videos. Well, I do them because I like to do them. But there's a reason why I don't refer to them as beer reviews or whiskey reviews, because I feel like I'm having more of a conversation with you than trying to review the beer or the whiskey, even though I will give you notes. And the point being, I'm doing a video here with a specific topic of things that have been coming up lately. And I want to talk about a topic that's sure to just irritate everybody from every generation. And I want to talk about generational warfare. Millennials can't do anything without a safe space. They can't do this, they can't do that. They get offended by every darn thing. Says the same people that are offended by OK Boomer. Okay. Having said that, the chart I'm looking at here shows baby boomers from 1946 to 1964, Gen X from 65 to 79, millennials from 1980 to 1994. Now, I tell you why that's interesting to me. Because people, boomers, anybody that is an actual baby boomer, I'm close. I'm right on that cusp, I suppose. Because I've seen charts that end the baby boomers at 65. But I've seen charts also like this one, other than this one, that list Gen X at starting at age or starting at the year 1965. Now, if you were to talk to people that have known me for a long time, family, friends, they would probably say I have more Gen X traits than Boomer traits. But that being said, but what I find interesting here is millennials are listed from 1980 to 1994. That means, if you're paying attention, you can do a little math. That means actual millennials are aged between 25 and, wait for it, 39 years old. So typically when anybody, well, hell, I was going to pick on the baby boomers, but hell, even people my age, even most Gen X, when we talk about millennials, we're talking about anybody younger than us. They're basically talking about, yeah, you know, they see a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. That's a millennial to them. Or even to me, I suppose, to some extent. I mean, I work with folks, a lot of the younger folks I work with between ages of 23 and, say, 27. And I've referred to all of them as millennials, but according to this chart, only about half of them are actual millennials. So it really depends on your attitude, I suppose. But I think most baby boomers that are picking on millennials for needing a safe space or a participation trophy aren't realizing that they're actually talking to people that could be damn near 40 years old. Which I find interesting. I tell you what I also find interesting, though, is the participation trophy. People want to bag on a participation trophy. No, I'm not saying the participation trophy is a good thing, but what I'm saying is, I want to make this real crystal clear. I almost used a cuss word, but I tried to bring it back. Is I remember seeing participation trophies in the 80s. So people want to act like they just popped up in the last decade. No, that's not true. So if I was seeing participation trophies, say, from about 1985 on, and I was, what I'm talking about are parents of, or what I'm talking about is just the parents are baby boomers, is the point I was trying to make. So it was actually baby boomers came up with the participation trophy. The same people that are telling you it's a horrible idea and and are wanting to blame millennials for it. Well, it's not the millennials that invented the damn participation trophy. It was the baby boomer generation. So how about that for a little irony? Hey, look, I'm not saying one generation is better than the other, and I'll tell you something. Every generation bags on the one under it. You know, I've got family members that will post it, you know, things were better when you were able to spank your kids or swat them or whatever the heck. And they're totally ignoring the fact that not everybody in that family turned out well. That there were problems throughout school when we went to school. You know, they want to totally ignore all of the bad and say, oh, only bad things are happening now. Things were just darn near perfect when we went to school when you could whack kids. No, it's not true. They weren't perfect. There were assholes back when I went to school too. There were drug problems back when I went to school too, and it didn't just happen when you when people start cracking down on being able to swat your kid. Anyway, people have lost perspective, man. I remember my dad saying, "This gen talking about myself and my brothers and sisters were the laziest people he'd ever seen." And I remember an aunt mentioning something about that, about one of her kids. And then she looked at me and said, "Of course, my dad said the same thing about me." That aunt would have been, part of the same age as the greatest generation. What I'm saying is that every generation has said that about the next one, is that they're the laziest people ever on the planet. It's just the way we do. We all keep perpetuating the same nonsense, acting like it's the last generation that screwed everything up and not us. And quite frankly, right now it's mostly the baby boomers that want to destroy the damn planet just so they can make a few bucks. But that's a different argument. But as I'm having this discussion with you, as we're having a discussion, as we talking, we just talking here. As we're talking, I'm having a mother's Materfamilias. It's a barrel aged imperial stout. Now this is their single barrel. Now when they come out with this, typically about every February, sometimes early March. It's aged in multi spirit barrels, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. And then they blend them together. But what I have here is the bourbon barrel version of, and it is nothing short of gorgeous. It's absolutely brilliant. So there you go. Again, my point actually is there really isn't a point. The point is that picking on one generation doesn't solve any problems. It kind of goes back to the old adage: if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And blaming the latest generation for all of the problems doesn't solve any problems. Does it help for millennials to blame boomers for stuff? No, that doesn't help either. Because it's not one generation that is screwing everything up. It is certain people from every damn generation. It is greed that screws up the planet. It is bigotry. It is attitude. That's what screws everything up. If everybody came at everything with an open mind rather than a closed one, paid more attention to what was going on around them rather than how they could make more money, the world would clearly be a better place. So it doesn't do any good to blame any generation, because we're all at fault. Every single damn one of us. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, perverse man. All around good guy. See who I pissed off during this video. Cheers, y'all.